Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. Prince William was put on the spot while helping out at a Christmas party for the homeless in London. In his new ITV documentary, Prince William, Can End Homelessness, he is seen lending a hand at the Passage, a homeless shelter close to his heart. However, when he floated the idea of leaving the kitchen crew to mingle with guests, Chef Claudette wasn't having it. With a playful, "Oh, you're trying to escape the work, I'm watching you," Claudette reeled him back in, sparking laughter from the prince. Clearly unfazed, William later took on the less glamorous job of clearing plates, showing he was game for whatever was needed. The documentary gives an inside look at the first year of William's Homewards initiative, which aims to tackle homelessness with a strategy to make it rare, brief, and unrepeated. This goal takes inspiration from William's childhood visits to shelters with Princess Diana and is focused on 6 regions, including Newport, Lambeth, and Aberdeen. The project brings together charities, local councils and government departments, and in one scene, Big Issue founder Lord John Bird made it clear that he'll hold William accountable. "We need the expertise of everybody." William backs him up, agreeing that it's a team game. The hour-long documentary, now on Disney Plus as well, highlights William's long-term commitment to the cause, illustrating a modern royal balancing a serious mission with some light-hearted humility along the way. In the documentary, Lord John Baird, founder of The Big Issue, tells William that he's seeking no bullshit in tackling homelessness. In one meeting, William stresses the collaborative nature of the mission, saying, "I'm conscious that this is a team game, so please do feel free to pile in when you need to." Lord Bird quickly challenges him, responding, "I hope you meant that." When William assumes that he does, Lord Bird replies, "We need the expertise of everybody." So when William says he wants to converge it, that's what I want, and I don't really want to have any bullshit. Afterward, William acknowledges to the camera how essential it is to have allies like Bird on board, noting, "John will happily tell me if it's not going well. He is very direct and quite right. I mean, he's seen many attempts come and go over the past. So it's important people like John buy into what we're doing." William addresses the criticism of the prince owning several homes directly. "I think everyone having a right to a safe and stable home benefits us all. I come with no other agenda than desperately trying to help people who are in need. And I see this as part of my role. Is that why else would I be here if I'm not using this role properly to influence and help people where I can?" Royal expert Tessa Dunlop was impressed by William, telling the Mirror, "Bright blue eyes, open-necked shirt, hands casually crossed on his knee. This was Prince William as we have never seen him before. Charming, charismatic and kind. A man on a mission to end homelessness, a prince with the capacity to convince the suits in society and simultaneously get down with the kids." Dunlop mentioned how Harry, in Spare, mentioned that William's resemblance to Diana had faded as he lost his hair. Dunlop tells the Mirror, "The Duke of Sussex, blinded by his own siblings' sour grapes, couldn't be more wrong. Last night, William channeled Diana. The same big-eyed stare, the same capacity to make the unseen in society feel seen, the same sincerity as William readily owned he had taken guidance from what my mother did." As a charity boss casually observed, William isn't just a celebrity, he's a super celebrity, and his capacity to work that status was there for all to see. When else would an issue like homelessness get 2 consecutive slots on primetime TV? As for questions about the prince owning too many palaces to be a credible homelessness champion, he faced down that accusation by frontlining Windsor Castle mid-documentary to underscore his status as the man who can. Former street sleeper Wayne didn't care. He just wanted a platform to tell his story. Royal commentator Rebecca English, writing for the Daily Mail, explains that William's upcoming trip to South Africa will be different than his father's Australia trip. English writes, "Next week I travel to Cape Town with the Prince of Wales as he undertakes engagements around his Earthshot Prize Awards, a trip that is likely to be a very different kettle of fish." William has long made clear that he is less enamoured of the traditional royal tour mould, preferring to focus on single issues in greater detail. You are likely to see significantly fewer engagements day to day, 2 or 3 at most, but ones his team feel he can offer more engagement with and a focus very much on the subject matter in hand. Prince Harry's virtual appearance at a NATO military committee meeting to discuss the Invictus Games has stirred up quite a reaction, and not all of it positive. Though he joined the meeting from his home in California to represent the games he founded, Royal fans were less than impressed, with many calling for the Duke to distance himself from NATO. This critique comes as part of a broader trend where some are questioning his role in formal military contexts since stepping back from royal duties. Harry said, "I believe the work of the Invictus Games Foundation to be very important, and it strikes at the heart of our shared values as military personnel." Meghan did not appear, although royal watchers noticed a photo of Meghan in the background. Palace Intrigue will be right back. In his book, Charles III, New King, New Court, The Inside Story, royal biographer Robert Hardman recounts the poignant moment when Charles was first addressed as Your Majesty, a title that came to him under sombre circumstances. Charles was driving through the Balmoral estate when he received a call from Sir Edward Young, his late mother, Queen Elizabeth's private secretary. Sir Edward informed Charles of the Queen's passing, marking the exact moment he ascended to the throne. As Hardman explains, King Charles succeeded to the throne at the wheel. To be more precise, he had just turned off the B976 onto the back drive of the Balmoral estate when he learned that he was now sovereign of the United Kingdom and 14 other realms. Hardman draws a historical parallel between this moment and that of Elizabeth's own ascent to the throne. He notes that Elizabeth was in Kenya, atop a giant fig tree, watching wildlife when news reached her of her father King George VI's death. History will record that 7 decades later, on the afternoon of 8th September 2022, her son and heir was on an unmarked Scottish country road at the wheel of his car when he was first addressed as Your Majesty. On that day, Charles had already been to Balmoral Castle to visit his mother and had returned briefly to his residence at Birkhall. In the manner of his late mother, he had climbed into the car as both Prince of Wales and Duke of Rothesay. 20 minutes later, he would climb out of it as King Charles III, with a new queen at his side. The official death certificate would later confirm that Queen Elizabeth passed at 3:10 p.m. By her side were only Charles, Camilla, and Princess Anne, who had been in Scotland that week for royal engagements, including the Braemar Royal Highland Gathering. The rest of the family, including Prince William, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, Sophie, had been making their way to Balmoral but arrived after her passing. They landed at 3:50 and, with William driving, reached the castle at 5:06 p.m. Prince Harry, departing from Luton Airport on a private jet, would not arrive in time either. His flight took off at 5:30 p.m, and he was still in the air when the announcement of the Queen's death was made to the public at 6:30. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.